if the enemy army is invading, say, hey, hold up, bro. I gotta take my nap first. I'm a natural introvert. I'm the only child. I'm the only grandchild on both sides. Most of my friends from childhood were older than me. They're a few years older. Even in college, I'd say I got along with my professors. From people from undergrad, I still communicate with a couple of my professors. I have no interest in talking to any of the students I went to school with from undergrad. It's negative interest. So I felt very comfortable being around older people, and that felt more natural to me, It felt more natural to me. But, I also understood, it's like, well, the better I could communicate to others, the better I could communicate with others, I was going to have better outcomes in life. Humans are social creatures, and the most successful humans have, high quality social networks. In any endeavor, however you would define success, any way you could possibly define success, the most successful people in a particular area, whatever that might be, are going to be hanging out with other successful people that have similar values and similar goals. So, I just realized that early enough that, like, although it takes an effort and I felt like I had to, I wasn't necessarily shy, but I didn't feel the, compelled inside to go, over talk so much or go meet a bunch of people or something. But I'm like, you know what? You're going to start somewhere, and if you recognize the fact, the reality of life, that, like, if you're anything that you're going to be good at, top UFC fighters hang out with other top fighters, or top MMA fighters hang out with other top MMA fighters, and they more or less eat the same things and have a lot of the same routines and share little tips and tidbits and go train together. And guess what? Top surgeons are going to hang out with other top surgeons and engage in many of the same rituals and so on. And top lawyers and top entrepreneurs and any, guitar players, video game champions, however pathetic that sounds to me, probably going to hang out with other, high-level video game players, et cetera, So you got to pick what groups do you want to be a part of, what groups are not for you, and what groups do you want to be a part of. And if you're going to be accepted in that group, it's not enough to, fill your head with, nerdy thing. It's like you also have to, share some of those thoughts. There's this trap that some smart people get themselves into, I think quite a few really, that they have some fantasy in their head. They're like, well, I know all this other stuff. I know it more than most people do, so I shouldn't have to make the effort to talk about it much. They should, if they knew how smart I was, they'd line up to kiss my ass or something, And that's just not, I imagine every one of you has had that thought on some level, but it's just not the most effective strategy. It's like, the burden's always on me. It's always on you to convey your personality, to convey your identity a bit, and, let people make an informed decision to, they'll indicate to you that they want to be around that, and they'll indicate to you that they'd like to contribute to be able to be around you, or they're just going to go float off and go do whatever, and that's great. Both are a fine decision, but if you're not making that effort to, exert a bit of personality, then nobody knows. And then you just end up with whatever random people that you end up around, and you know how that goes. So if you're going to hang out with a bunch of random people, you're going to have some random-ass average outcome. And if you're going to be a part of a, particular elite group of anything, you're going to have to be able to communicate, effectively within that group. That don't mean you have to be talking all the time. It's not my natural, in a bit we'll shift over to the mastermind group, or the people that are here for, on business programs, and let you people do most of the talking. Be delighted to do a lot more listening than talking. Happy to, looking forward to it. So I'm happy playing this role, but in my natural environment, I don't mind. I like to read things, like to watch documentaries. I like to consume. I'd be very delighted inside to be consuming content, listening to smart people talk, watching a documentary, listening to an audiobook, absorbing new information that might help my future is usually more fun for me than talking and trying to contribute to somebody else's future. I get more benefit from that input than I do from output in many ways, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it gives me new content and new context and new learnings and new understandings that, when I'm in a situation that it makes sense for me that, I'm supposed to share that information or have output right now, it keeps my brain sharp, it keeps me valuable to other people, because in my downtime, it's not my downtime, it's my default my normal way of being is absorbing new information, learning something new. And you've been around me a bit, I have a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds that I love hanging out with, people are, if you're a doctor or a lawyer or anybody who's good at something, it might not be my area, but I love learning people. I love learning from people that are experts in some other area, and it's invaluable to have people like that around. It's invaluable to have those type of people. So, when you can learn that from different disciplines. I'd say one thing my brain was very good at, the nerds call this a polymath, but one thing that my brain was very good at is absorbing different information from different disciplines and finding the commonalities between those things, and then living that way, consistently and congruently. I think that's extremely valuable. Charlie Munger talks about that as is an investment, that you have to understand the few big ideas from all of the big disciplines. You're at an extreme disadvantage if you're ignoring physics or ignoring biology or ignoring mathematics. You're at an extraordinary disadvantage relative to a person who is making an effort to understand the main concepts from every major discipline. So I was a business major, but I had a minor in psychology, minor in philosophy, almost a second bachelor's. Took a bunch of communications classes, took a bunch of other random classes. After I'd take 5 or 6 or 7 classes and get mostly A's, in my spare time I was watching a documentary or reading a book or hanging out with other smart people and just talking about nerdy things like we do. And you do that for a few decades, and pretty soon your brain sees a few patterns that other people don't see, So your neural pathways adapt to that. And what's really boring to me is when you talk to a girl and she can't have a conversation. It's like, I wouldn't be interested in spending time with a girl that I couldn't talk with at a pretty high level, What would we do together?
I was wondering about that, because every time we interact and stuff, I prefer that you do most of the talking because you have a lot more knowledge than I do, but it's like he talks for 9 hours straight. I'm like, is that how his interactions with women go? Where he it's not now, I'm on a rant. And I'm just thinking, my interactions are definitely the opposite of that, where I'm I'll say a couple things and then I'll ask a question, and I think it's just not working for me in the way that I want it to, and I need to just keep talking, even though I don't feel like it's not natural for me until I get to a point. Were you ever at a point where you weren't speaking for 9 hours? You must have had to work up to that point, because I rarely take breaks.
I think the longest I had about 13 hours on stage one day, and took a leak twice in the process. Say, hey, share your experience with a group about blah blah blah. We don't even take a break. I don't even take a 15-minute break or something. For a lot of you have seen me at some of those type of things. So 9 hours ain't so bad. You take a bathroom break every 4 hours or so. No, obviously that's not a natural thing. It's that I feel comfortable doing that. It's sincere and it's true, but it's not how I spend my day to day. My life changes a lot. The context of life changes. If you looked at the last couple of years of my life, in 2019, I flew about exactly 250,000 miles, so over 400,000 kilometers. Had 119 flights in 2019. And then, last year I only had 42 flights, I think, 42, 43. And, this year maybe I had, I don't know what I did so far, 9 or 10, something like that. So I was flying everywhere. I have friends all over the world, and it feels, wherever I'm at, I feel very comfortable there, because anywhere feels like home. If you travel a lot for years, then anywhere you're at, you feel comfortable. It's like wherever you land, you're like in 24 hours, you figure out, well, the food is over there. My favorite food is, the good food is there. The backup plan for food is there. The hot girls congregate here. I know a couple people in town. The gym's over there. And in 24 hours, you're like, okay, I got this. And even if I can't speak the language, even if I show up somewhere and I can't even speak with the others, my brain can bing, 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 bing. Okay, I'm at home. Everything's good. Everything's going to be good here. So, I don't know, I'd say I'm adaptive that way, but, I also have a lot of rituals that, I just say rituals loosely, rituals in the same way that you have your daily routines or whatnot, I also do a lot of the same things, I still have those rituals of, before I go to bed at night, I'm thinking about my 3 most important things I need to do tomorrow. When I wake up in the morning, I don't leap out of bed. I don't leap out of bed and go do something. It's, the most important time of my day is thinking laying there for 5 or 10 minutes is like, oh, are there still the 3 most important things I need to do today? What's the most important thing I can do for my financial future? What's the most important thing I could do for, a relationship or peer group or friendship? It could be with a girl, it could be with a guy friend, whatever it is, and then whatever the third thing that seems pressing, But, in a normal day right now in my life, instead of, spending a lot of hours on a jet, I'm listening to less audio books right now, because when I'm in a jet or when I was in an Uber, I'm always listening to an audio book. So it's just, you just burn through one a week like nothing, because you have 2 flights and you have some travel time in a, Uber somewhere. So you just burn through a book a week like nothing. And, so now I'm listening to less audiobooks this year. But then I find myself watching more documentaries instead. Or, and then on one hand, I'm managing sophisticated, high-level things with, business things or whatever. And on the other hand, I might be, on my hands and knees with a trowel in my hand, putting mortar on the floor, because I want my tile a very specific way, and putting spacers between marble tiles and speaking terrible broken Spanish, trying to convey to a couple of Mexican guys, or actually a Honduran man, and his partner, I don't know where he's from, of, I want it like this.
Chino.
Yes. So that much that way. So yeah, things are going to change, dude. I never wanted a normal routine. So I did an interview at a major newspaper a couple of days ago, one of the biggest newspapers in our country. And then I'm crawling around on the floor with glue on my clothes and glue in my hair, and putting down walnut flooring that I already paid somebody else to do, but I'm there micromanaging it because I want it just the way that I want it. I want it exactly the way that I want it. I don't want 3 boards that look alike in a cluster here and 3 boards that look alike in a cluster there. I want them evenly dispersed with the grain to be it's not a random pattern. It would be a random pattern if you allowed those clusters to happen. I want a very precise non-random pattern that I want it to, at a glance, it looks like a random pattern to a dummy that doesn't know statistics. But in reality, it's, you want an even distribution of, color variance or grain variance of the wood. So it looks like it was, accidental and random, when in fact it takes effort to do that. But if I don't do that, the guys will put the floor down, but they're just going to grab the next board and put it down, and the next board and they're also not going to look at the seams. I'm going to look at the seams, and I'm like, I want the seams staggered from one another. So, wherever there's a seam in a board, it might be, 4 or 5 boards away where there's another seam in that same spot. So, I want them, here and there and there and there, not here and then another board, here and here and here. I want them staggered apart from each other. So, and if I don't do that, then I have to look at it the rest of my life, and I have this terrible affliction where I'm going to look at it, and it's going to bother me forever. So, for better or worse, So, I don't know, so, I had like a major newspaper interview, did great in the stock market. I'm just thinking like the last week, did some manual labor, bought a new property. It's just, here with you guys. So there's a lot of different there's a lot of changing gears. Spent a lot of time with my face and my computer, a lot of time playing with my computer and, on presentations for this upcoming real estate program. Spend a lot of time on that. Spend so much time on it that I'm so used to it that I don't even think to say it because it's just so ingrained in my normal day. It'd be like you saying, hey, I brushed my teeth today, bro. It's like, I hope you do that every day. But yeah, so every day I'm playing with it, tweaking that and finalizing that, So, yeah, there's a lot of variety, and you just switch gears and feel comfortable about it. This is kind of your question about groundedness, by the way, as well, that when you're younger, it's just harder to change gears from, like, you get your rhythm doing one thing, and then you have to go do a different thing. And it's kind of like, you need like a 30-minute reset kind of to get your brain reoriented from the thing you've been doing the first half of your day to the thing that you're going to do the second half of your day, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'll be like doing my designing work or my homework, and it's like very mentally focused and draining. And then my friend will hit me up and to go out and socialize. So it takes it takes that extra push, and it does take that effort to shift gears.
As you get older, if you keep making that push, if you keep making that, you're like, I'm going to do it. You have to train your brain to say, I'm going to do it anyway. No matter what, I'm going to do it anyway. So no amount of procrastination is going to steer me away. I have to do it today anyway. I'm going to accomplish this before bed. So you have to make a commitment to yourself, like, I'm going to accomplish this before bed. So therefore, I might as well do it efficiently so I don't have to lose sleep later. Because if I don't do it efficiently now, I'm still going to do it before I go to bed, so it's going to cost me sleep later. And then, about the time your brain accepts that you're not going to allow yourself to make an excuse or change your mind and go fuck off and do something else, about the time that you're fully resigned that before I go to bed today, this will be complete, then you start getting efficient where you can change gears in 20 minutes instead of 30, and then 10 minutes, and then 5 minutes, and then pretty soon you could just go from one thing to another thing, rather effortlessly, That's why they abuse a doctor. That's what a residency is they abuse a doctor until, he could be sleep deprived and a bit ill and have a problem at home, but he can still go do the thing that he's been trained to do, no matter what. It's really what a professional is. It's really the definition of a professional outcome versus an amateur outcome. Is a professional person, it doesn't matter what mood they're in. It doesn't matter if they're a little tired. It doesn't matter if there's some little problem at home. A professional person's going to show up and get a result no matter what. An amateur person's going to do probably not much no matter what.
Soldiers too. They train soldiers like that.
Yeah. And you got to train yourself that way. You might as well look at those disciplines, and what he said is exactly right. You might as well look at those disciplines as like, if the enemy army is invading, say, hey, hold up, bro. I gotta take my nap first. Imagine imagine somebody had a terrible injury and you go to the hospital, and they're in a car accident, their fucking bone is sticking out of their arm, and every time their heart beats, a little rainbow of blood shoots out of their arm. And he shows up at the fucking emergency room, and it's like, holding his arm with his eyes, saying, help. And the nurse is like, oh, time for my cigarette break. Oh, just don't bleed on my desk, sit over there. So I'm gonna take my cigarette break and, maybe a phone call or two. And if I feel like it, I'll come talk to you in a little bit. The nurse comes back, and if you're not dead yet, it's like, all right, I'm gonna talk to the doctor. And the doctor is like, oh man, that sucks. That's serious. Unfortunately, I'm just about to go to lunch. You just hang tight, bro. You just hang tight. Like, also my favorite sports team is playing today. So, I don't know, see if my wife don't need anything from me, I'll check back out with you in a few hours and see if you're still alive and shit. You want to go to a hospital like that? No, you want to go where a professional's been trained that, you know, if it's his day off and whatever, they're going to call him and he's going to show up and he's going to fix the thing, and then you don't have to die or be permanently crippled. So you got to hold yourself to a standard like that in whatever it is that you want to do. You got to hold yourself to a standard like that, and if you don't, just expect a worse outcome. Just if you're not willing to pay that price to have the best outcomes that you could have had, then okay, but don't be bitter with anybody else when they will. Somebody out there is willing to do that. He's going to go do his residency. He knows it sucks. Still going to do it. Consulting's that way, or investment banking's that way in the business realm. Like, I think those are terrible jobs. I don't know why anybody wants to be a banker or a consultant, but many people I know that are very smart people. They'll tell me privately that they got their job at McKinsey, they got their job at Goldman Sachs, and they'll tell me privately that occasionally they cry themselves to sleep at night, that they feel terrible, and occasionally cry themselves to sleep at night, and take a nap for 3 hours and wake up and do it again, because that's what that job is. So they'll put you, if your firm will send you somewhere, they'll buy you a first-class airplane ticket. They'll put you in, you can have a Uber Luxa. If you work at the right firm, you can have the nicer car to drive you home, and go home and rinse off, sleep for a few hours, and go report for more abuse. Go report for more abuse, and put your fucking smile on your face and be politically correct, because the clients are judging you. If you're not willing to do those things, then you're not gonna excel in those environments. Somebody else is willing to. Somebody like him is willing to go do the doctor thing and accept that abuse to get the rewards that go with it. Or some other people here are willing to go do that entrepreneur thing because they like their long-term outcomes more than their short-term emotions. Care about their future more than their present.
So we're not even halfway through the Moneyberg Markets Mastery Program, and I have learned so much from this. There's so many things I did not know, and open up so many blind spots to just information I didn't understand. It's truly true what they say is you don't know what you don't know, and this program has shown me what I really didn't know. It really helped me understand more about global markets and how they function, different components that are in with it. It really helped me understand how money works, what's money's function, and it's really kind of helped me kind of flush those things out. And it's really helped me analyze investment much better, how to actually analyze an investment the proper way, what tools, features, and functions that you should be using, what things you should be looking for. It's really helped me to understand that a whole lot better, to make much better sound decisions. It's really kind of made me sort of make sure I have sort of a nice thesis statement or a mission statement to answer before making an investment. It's just like if you're making your own mission statement in life, things that you would sort of ask, like, who am I as a person? What do I want to do in my life? And what are the people, places, and the things you want to have that are going to be a part of that life, that are going to make it good, are going to fulfill it? And these are the same sort of questions you need to answer when you're looking at making an investment and putting that thesis and that mission statement and that form together so that those questions are answered, and then you kind of know with clarity what you want to do, if it's a good investment or if it's a bad investment, short-term, long-term, all those sort of things in there with it. So if anyone out there that's looking to be able to invest in the markets and you're just confused, this is a great program to get. You're going to get a lot of information, and it's a lot of work. It is a ton of work. It's a mastery program. It's something that you're going to be able to go back to over time and learn how to master this. You don't master it instantly. It's not going to happen in just 90 days or 10 days. There's no magic button, no quick fix, no magic pill with this. That you have to sit down and put in the work and learn, try things, come back and learn again. And that's one of the biggest takeaways I've gotten from this program so far, that I know over time I'm really going to learn from this and come back from these same lessons that I'm learning today and learn new things and be able to be a smarter investor overall down the line pretty much for the rest of my life.
Thanks for watching. Success is not for everybody, and it may not be for you. If you are or on your way to be a millionaire or multimillionaire, probably going to want to spend time with my clients. Probably going to want to have a personal relationship with me so we can accelerate that process, get you living up to your maximum potential, earning your maximum wage, you're going to want to click that follow button. You're going to want to click that bell and get notifications. Tune in every Friday, tune in every Monday. You're going to love what you see. I look forward to having you as a client in the future.